Hey S&B family, it's Jed. Welcome to the Bitcoin update. Happy Monday or Tuesday if you're watching this the next day. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's get to it. So, Bitcoin on the weekly time frame, as we spoke on the mastermind and the last update, there is still a lot of space for Bitcoin to fill, okay? Now, I'm not saying, again, I'm not being super bearish and saying, oh my gosh, Bitcoin's going to go, to the 54, 57K range. No, I'm not saying that yet. There are plenty of daily supports that can support this price inside this region, but I just want you guys to be aware, right, that there is a significant amount of space that this apex is telling us, okay, on the weekly time frame. Worst case scenario that we have to be aware about, and which is why I like to keep capital on the side, especially in times of these where there's a rejection on a larger resistance like this weekly downtrend. So we're really where is the next weekly range support? First is the 57 and the 55. What is this? 54, 50? Yeah, pretty much 55K range. So again, that's something to be aware about on a macro time frame. Okay. Okay, cool. So we have that set. All right. We have that scenario set in our brains. So let's dive deeper. Okay. As you can see, we have a lot of daily levels here, right? A lot of resistances. We have some daily, macro daily downtrends. We also have some three solid daily supports, right? Now these are the supports that are holding up price before it can even, before Bitcoin can even attempt to go to that weekly range that we were just talking about. Okay, so one. We have this daily uptrend, okay, from the last update and the mastermind actually on Friday, where I did the quick update. I drew out this daily uptrend and I mentioned, it's fairly tight. It can begin respecting it. If not, it'll just move into accumulation, pretty much sideways price action against the support. However, in this case, it's actually respecting the daily uptrend. As you can see, there's a volatile wick up there, a nice heavy test. Looks like it tried to attempt to test this origin level here. We'll actually move this daily from here to there. Okay. Just let me update this so it's the correct level. Daily tested. Okay, great. Okay, it looks like it tried to attempt this region, but obviously it failed, and now it's back here, hoping to climb up the uptrend once more, right? The thing about these uptrends is that I don't like these steep uptrends, especially on a bigger time frame like the daily. If it fails to continue to make lower highs, right? If when we get really closely into it, if it's continued to make lower highs, it's pretty much setting itself up for failure. Okay, that's just one of the signs. Okay, so that's nothing new. So and also with steep uptrends is that unless we're in a massive bull market, it just these trend lines they just don't hold. What goes up must come down. It's accumulation distribution, period, right? So in this case, as soon as this daily uptrend does break, like sideways out of this daily uptrend, that's where you will see some volatile price action on the downside, whether that be a retest here. But considering that it's been tested numerous times, it can go down to finally the last red candle before that local uptrend within this region here. Okay. This region here is so close to this weekly that it could just end up wicking on that weekly, right? Because where has this rejection stemmed from? It stems from this weekly downtrend, okay? So if it's hitting a weekly resistance, guys, right? What support is it going to go next? Wherever the next weekly is. In this case, right here, okay? And that's why we look at these daily time frames these smaller time frames, because these smaller time frames is what's gonna make the bigger move to these weekly levels. Now, I'm not saying it's gonna go directly to the weekly. There are numerous cases where a smaller time frame, like the daily, heck, even the 4 hour and even 1 hour, can hold an entire structure before it can even hit the weekly, and then next thing you know, it's you know moving to the upside very, very quick. Okay, so just keep in mind of these supports. These daily supports have not changed, right? Since the last TA, really nothing has changed on this TA for the past, since Friday, since the last update. So we're just gonna keep the levels as is, and you just have to be attentive. Keep a keen eye on this daily uptrend, because as soon as that breaks, the altcoins will fall pretty hard, in my opinion, because we already saw a pretty big retracement for some of these altcoins when we saw this Bitcoin candle right here. So again, if we see if we see Bitcoin falling, breaking out this downtrend, I think it's safe to say it'll definitely most definitely hit these support systems, these support targets. And as soon as it reaches, the lower side of this region, it's most likely gonna just end up testing that weekly, because the originating rejection point was at the weekly downtrend as shown there. Okay. Now that we have that set in stone, we know we have the general idea where Bitcoin will go. Let's look at DXY. Okay. Nice. So in this case, guys, we know that wherever DXY goes, Bitcoin does the opposite. So there's a little lag. DXY looks like it's rejecting the daily not pretty hard at all, but I mean, just like looks like a subtle rejection. There's this candle literally just open, but the fact that the candle before it was also a red candle close, that also tells me that DXY could temporarily retrace, right? And here on the daily time frame, we can actually move this to here now. Now we can see that's the new suppression. If it were to fall down, this will be the suppression on the way down. So we'll see how this daily candle closes. Nice 2 tests on this daily resistance. It barely even closed, anywhere in this region. So in a case where DXY does fall, we can, it's pretty much safe to say that there's a, pretty significant retracement if it were to retrace all the way back down, right? So we have this origin point here, and then, probably like the origin point right there. So I would say if DXY were to fall, we have this first support, right? This very small apex. And if this daily support breaks, then obviously we have this region. And again, if this support breaks, back to the weekly. Okay. So with DXY looking like it's actually going to retrace, we can actually go back to Bitcoin and say, okay, DXY doesn't look too bad. It looks like it's going to retrace a bit more. Maybe Bitcoin has a bit more, juice to squeeze to possibly reach up to these daily resistances. Okay. So again, that's the logical thinking that you need to be aware about. You're bouncing off between DXY and Bitcoin. Heck, even the dominance as well. We'll go to the weekly time frame and see the dominance is getting super tight against this monthly. This apex itself is getting really tight. If we see a move up to these weeklies, or heck, maybe even this monthly, wouldn't be too good for the altcoins. So we'll keep a close watch on this. It's safe to say that a lot of these points are all pretty much like pivotal for the crypto market in general, right? So this is a perfect time, coming into the election time where there's a lot of psychological demand in these, not just the crypto markets, but just stock markets in general, everything. So very important that you are mindful of the levels that I have marked for you guys here. Okay, and that wraps it up. If anyone has any questions, drop them down below, and just make sure you at me so I can get back to you as soon as possible. Take care, guys. See you in the altcoin update. Bye.